Hi, my name's Amanda Meixner Rocchio. I am best known for my meal prep and nutrition content. Today I'm talking with Chase about everything from eating disorders to emotional eating to how to handle if your partner isn't on board with your healthy lifestyle, and of course just overall mindset tips for tackling a healthy lifestyle. Welcome to EverForward Radio. I really hope you enjoy today's episode.
3, 2, 1.
Welcome to the video podcast. I'm really excited you're here. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is you're breaking in the new place, and I'm really glad that you were very flexible. I was like, hey, I got an idea with this, got an idea with that. Let's just roll with it. Is that kind of how you go about your day with your content creation?
Yeah, a little bit like that. I mean, and I love that we're in the kitchen. That was a fabulous idea.
Your home base, basically.
Yeah, I feel right at home.
Yeah. Well, Amanda, introduce yourself, please. Technically, you've been on the show once before. You were one of the guest speakers at the EverForward Summit.
Oh, yes. That was really fun.
That was amazing. Thank you so much. We had we raised I think $2,500. No, almost $3,000 actually.
Amazing.
And it was just a jam-packed day. And then I wound up repurposing some of those episodes, actually all of them in June.
Nice.
They were short. It was 15, 20 minutes kind of thing.
Yep.
But now we get the full-blown Amanda version. So
here I
say
am.
hello. Welcome to the podcast. Who are you? What do you do?
So my name's Amanda Meixner Rocchio. I just got married recently, so I'm, taking
Congrats
on the
again.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
It was this year, right?
It was, last year, because obviously no one can have weddings with COVID. But I'm really best known for my meal prep and nutrition content, and it started years ago when I was meal prepping for work. I would organize my food for the week in this really organized fashion. I would buy a ton of rainbow groceries, and everyone was so impressed by that. Yeah. Because at that time, I think bodybuilders were mostly only ones meal prepping.
When was this? Maybe what year?
Oh, God, at least 4 years ago,
okay.
4 or 5 years ago.
The height of meal prep.
Yes.
If it fits your macros kind of life.
Yes. Yeah. I really dove into that community, which was great. So many ideas, recipes, hacks. Yeah. What better way to save money than to make your own food? And if I was working a 9 to 5, so, you really had to prepare ahead because you can't cook as you go. You're not at home. Yeah. So that's where I started meal prepping. And then as I got more into the research, nutrition content, I really turned it into talking about a healthy way to lose weight because I actually went through an eating disorder in high school.
Okay.
So I really wanted to make that part of my mission to share with women, there's a healthy way to lose weight and it does not involve starving yourself, and that can actually send you down the completely wrong path. So that's kind of how I got started in the space, and now it's my passion. I love, I like to say that I make nutrition easy to understand. That's what I try to do.
It's fun, it's colorful, it's entertaining, educational, all the things.
And I feel like we overcomplicate it in society. We make it so complicated when it's pretty simple. The hard part is obviously putting it into practice, right? Yeah. Changing your habits, making the time. I wouldn't say that's easy, but in terms of the concepts, it can be pretty basic and simple.
It can. We were talking earlier about when I was back health coach Chase. I was in my practice every day working with people one-on-one, and for some of those people and some of those things, the goal dependent, of course, it really was super basic.
Right.
At least for me at the time, it was a new thing for somebody to adopt or to learn, but when they really got it, oh wow, I don't have to completely change my entire life. It can just be I carve out 3 hours on a Sunday, I go to the grocery store, do my meal prep, and the rest of the week I'm adherent to my bigger kind of goals.
Exactly. Yeah. And you still get some fun foods in the mix because, you want to have fun in life. But
exactly.
Yeah, it's just about putting the time and planning. And it's going to feel harder at the start because it's something new.
It's new. It's new, yeah.
Of course.
So when you were going through kind of your start with the meal prep, was that because of you kind of deciding that I don't want to kind of go back down that road with the eating disorder? Was that a necessary step that you kind of put into place, or were you already kind of past that part of your life?
I was definitely way past that because the eating disorder happened in high school. So I was going into my freshman year of high school.
Yeah.
You put on, as a woman, you put on some weight, you hit puberty. And at first the weight loss started off as healthy, and then it became this unhealthy habit of chasing, over exercising and eating less, right? The whole concept of move more, eat less. Like on paper.
Shout out JT we were talking
Yes.
earlier, put your heck in check. Yeah.
Yes. So on paper, that's great. But then, I wasn't really focused on the types of food I was eating. I was just so focused on eating less.
Yeah.
And so, I got to an unhealthy place. And then I had the support at that time of a nutritionist and a therapist. So I would say, if you're in that place, don't be afraid to reach out for help.
That's a great combo right there for somebody that had like a legitimate disorder, eating disorder.
Absolutely.
Like those two really are necessary, I think.
Yeah, so right now I am 5'6" and I weigh like 132 pounds. So I was at 99 pounds,
oh, wow.
And I'm already very lean.
Yeah.
30 pounds less. It's not.
Where would it go? Wow. Jeez.
Yeah, so it was definitely a bad place. I'm actually lucky that my parents and doctors kind of forced me into it because it wasn't one of those moments of, I want to change, I'm ready to change.
It wasn't your idea.
It wasn't my idea, so I'm so thankful to them. But then, as the journey continued, you kind of look for the positive signs because at first it doesn't feel good because putting on weight when you're in that mindset doesn't feel good. You might feel a little bloated, all those things. But then, there were certain things that started to happen. Like I was a swimmer, and my times actually got worse when you're that skinny and you're not.
You had no energy.
I had no energy. Yeah. So when I was starting to put back on weight, my times got much better, and all these other things. So I was like, okay, I'm looking at the positives within this. So that's where that's what helped me transform from that mindset. And then later on in college, I kind of let go for a little bit.
Like most of us do in college.
Yeah, still
personally at least.
The freshman 15 basically, a little bit too much alcohol. So I let go for a little while, and was when I graduated that I revisited eating healthy, and I was like, okay, I want to lose some weight, but I want to do it the healthy way this time. Do we need to pause?
Oh yeah, 1 second. Knew it.
I knew it.
I thought I moved out of downtown.
It's inescapable in LA.
It's lit. Okay.
Yeah. So when I graduated college, I realized that I wanted to lose some weight, but I was like, this time I want to do it the healthy way. And I was a little nervous because I was like, I do not want to go down that same path. But then when I did the research and I started meal prepping, I realized, again, it's about fueling your body with the right foods. So
how did you know the healthy way? I think a lot of people, when you start your health journey, I'm going to be healthy. Most of us don't know what that means at the beginning. They just think, I need to eat salad. I need to go for a run. Did you know what healthy was, or did you kind of find your own definition, create your own definition?
It's a combination of reading different articles online, podcasts, listening to, what are foundational nutrients and how to get those, and, focusing on protein, eating a ton of vegetables. So a few foundational things, and then also trial and error, trying new healthy recipes.
You say that again,
trial and error.
Trial and error. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, obviously, because we can give you all the advice out there, but you have to customize it to what works for you, right?
Yeah.
That's why I always say here's a bunch of guidelines, here's some tips. Maybe I'll cover a bunch of different styles because I don't think there's one size fits all diet.
Exactly. Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't understand how people get caught in just because it works for you or it works for a ton of your clients,
or even for you for a period of your life, season of your life. Yeah,
I'm just there's room for all of it. There's benefits to so many different styles. Intermittent fasting, even keto has some benefits. I do a more balanced approach, but that's okay. I'm all for whatever works for you.
Exactly.
Just don't judge other people for their diet, right? It's too much. There's too much of that on the internet.
Yeah, we're not up in here. All right, not on this show at least.
Not on this show. Unless it's high in ketchup, then I'll probably judge
She's not going to let that go. She's like, everything was great, but Chase, he eats regular Heinz ketchup. He's got to get out of here.
I know. I'm not cutting you any slack because your diet
all right, 2020 cancel culture. Heinz, you're out. Ketchup is canceled. All right.
You're canceled. But yeah, actually that reminds me of the whole mindset of the 80-20, 90-10, which I'm sure you probably I see the cookie butter. But no, I think that's
She's you got the vegetables, you got the cookie butter, let it slide, it's all right.
No, but I think that's a great mindset. And it's also funny because I'll often get the question of, is it a math equation? Do I do 80% and
it's not literally 80-20.
Yeah, right? They're so 20%. And I'm like, no.
I can only eat 20% of my normal cookie butter serving. How does that work?
I'm it's the overall mindset, right? How you approach life, because I don't know, you want to have some fun, but you also have to say no to some things, especially if you're...
Or not right now.
Yeah, like not right now, exactly. Because I think there's peer pressure on both sides. There's also the peer pressure. Why are you eating just that? Please have some fun, live your life.
Oh, you're you're logging your food. Like, what do you? I mean, I've seen some people full blown whip out like a digital kitchen scale at restaurants and wait. I mean, I don't go that far.
That's a little far.
Hey, if you're prepping for like Olympia or something, sure.
That's true.
I understand,
That's
true. But not for like a weekend warrior kind of thing. Yeah.
That is a little bit much. But I mean, I feel like there is so much judgment on either side. And when you're first changing your lifestyle, you're going to have to say no. It's going to be an adjustment for some of your friends,
and
probably.
Personal judgment too, probably.
Yes.
I mean, especially someone like yourself, you were coming from a place of the eating disorder.
Right.
I haven't been there. I can only imagine some of the internal struggles you probably had, some like personal internal conversations. So, I mean, a lot of people who suffer eating disorders or disorder eating, like you have those struggles enough on your own, then to add in what other people are telling you or just giving you unsolicited advice on, like doesn't help, right?
No, not at all. Definitely. I don't know. Have you ever been judged for the way you've eaten before? Besides today? No.
Yeah, for sure. Whether it's like, depending on the food, I'll get extremely excited and like I'll just like scarf it down. Part of that I do give credit to. I think
I'm kind of like that though.
You are? Okay.
I eat really fast. My husband makes fun of me because he's like, if you don't know I'm watching you, it's the best time because I really don't care. And then once I catch him, I'm like, okay.
Oh wow, you're really special. Okay.
He always makes fun of me, but if you make the food right, like you're excited to eat. Like that's why healthy food can be super enjoyable, or even of course not healthy food too can be really
exactly. It's the experience, and then like during that experience, hopefully you build up enough of the ability to be aware of what you're eating. And just, okay, maybe I'm eating my cookie butter, but I'm having a really fun experience and I'm enjoying this. I'm very happy because I know leading up to this point, the rest of my week was meal prepped or I've been so successful in everything else that I've decided to do, right?
Right. No, I think that's a great point to mindful eating, right? Like being very mindful, intentional, and then actually which leads me to something of like emotional eating, right? Like which is a bad habit, like emotion or turning to food for the wrong answers. That's something you'd want to break. So really, right, you want to be using food. And of course, sometimes you use food for celebration. I think that's great. It's just more of the habit of, are you always turning to food when you're happy, stressed, angry, sad, If
it's your go-to for when you're happy, sad, everything you just said,
then you have a problem and then, you'd want to address that or also find better coping habits like going for a walk, journaling, calling a friend.
Just to break that cycle, just break that habit loop.
Absolutely. So, I mean, and I think also that's kind of what can happen with an eating disorder, right? Like on the reverse side, you're stressed out and so you don't eat, and you use that as a coping mechanism. So definitely want to break that cycle.
Yeah. You said something I want to go back to about when that cycle actually was broken for you. It wasn't by choice. It was broken by someone else. Out of love, no doubt.
Yes.
I wasn't there in the house, but I'm assuming your parents and your primary care provider recognized, hey, we need to step in, we need to do something, which for any goal, for any habit, regardless whether it's nutrition, smoking, drinking, or you can be addicted to reading too much. Really, maybe. But when someone else steps in and basically says, hey, what you're doing isn't right or it's not healthy.
It's hurting you.
Can you go back to that moment? Can you walk us through when someone else said, hey, you need to kind of change what you're doing?
Right. I mean, they actually, which was interesting. Again, I was a kid, so obviously there's a little more leadway there.
Well, how old were you?
Like
preteen,
15,
teen?
16.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know, what's the freshman year of high school? Like 15?
I think 15.
15. Yeah. So I was a kid, so you do have more leadway. And I say this to parents too. Like, you are the parent. Obviously, you should do it with grace and love.
Right,
but I'm thankful for that. But even as you get older, I think it's important to step in for your loved ones, have that difficult conversation. I mean, it's almost like borderline intervention, but it can save their life. And then, and you care about that person. But they did give me a warning, kind of, which I guess I appreciate because they gave me some time to turn it around myself. I went to the doctor and I kind of stepped on the scale and he told me, he was like, look, you're down a dangerous path. You keep losing weight. If you don't, I'm going to have you come back in 2-3 weeks or something. Maybe it was a month. And if you don't go up in weight, we're going to have to send you to some professional help because, you're getting in a dangerous zone, right? I've had friends hospitalized for eating disorders. So it's a serious problem. So like over those 2-3 weeks, I just couldn't get out of that mindset myself. I was stuck in it. And so I remember that day I went back to the doctor, and I was always wearing sweatshirts to cover up how skinny I was. And then I was like, I know I didn't gain weight. I know I've lost weight. And obviously you're kind of sick. You're sick in your addiction. And I was like, okay, how do I get the scale to show that I weigh more? So I chugged water that morning. And then I remember contemplating, I was like, and I would have gotten caught. I didn't do this, but I was like, can I hide like 5-pound dumbbells?
So did you like line your pants with
in my
sandbags
sweatshirt? No, I really wanted to. I was like, that's how nuts it can be. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like addiction. Wow. Addiction is no joke, whatever it is.
It'll send you down a path of getting really creative in unhealthy ways.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So that day, I went back, and then I stepped on the scale, and then I was 99 pounds. And they're like, okay, we're sending you to the nutritionist. We're sending you to the therapist. We're doing these things. Like, you're at, like once you get too low a weight, your heart rate is too low. Like
every other system in your body begins to really suffer.
Absolutely. Yeah. I lost my period. Obviously is not a good sign.
Especially at such a young age.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I will say I'm so thankful that, the doctors were there. So they kind of gave me a warning. So I guess it's kind of like, I think that's great advice to someone who wants to do an intervention is step in, have some initial conversations.
Yeah. Okay.
Be kind. And then maybe if it's still serious and you have that close of a relationship, that maybe you have the room to be a little more stern.
Sure.
I mean, obviously you can't be so aggressive, especially as an adult, right? They have the choice, but you can't
literally force somebody.
No, you can't. I mean, you can kind of.
Maybe you can. I wouldn't recommend it.
I wouldn't recommend it. Probably with your kid is what I'm saying. I'm very,
sure.
It's your kid. But I will say you can be a little more stern, like, like more of the initial, like, hey, I see you down this path. Like, why don't you make some changes, or maybe here are some resources. And then if you still see them continuing, like, look, this is very serious. Maybe like you list off some things that could happen to them for their health reason.
Right, okay.
So that's kind of how it was. But yeah, like I said, it is a little bit different as a kid.
I think this brings up a good topic of behavior change for our own self, but especially like when like us right now, right? We kind of have some things dialed in. We've been doing this health thing long enough to know what our body's like, what they don't like. That's constantly growing and evolving, of course. But then, like, maybe I'm speaking personally, but do you have people in your life that you wish would maybe kind of jump on board too?
Are you kidding me? Like, who doesn't have people in their life, whether,
how do we do that? Like, do we just continue to be the example? Do we drop subtle hints, drop not so subtle hints? Like, how do we actually get those around us that we love and care about to kind of want to take care of themselves?
Right. More? I mean, I think obviously number one, by example, right? Because you don't want to preach something that you're not doing. That's such a mismatch. Like, whenever I try to get, like, we're not the cleanest people at my apartment, and like I'll try to get my husband on board, but I'm like, I'm not really being that clean. So like I need to get my
I can't ask of you what I'm not doing.
Right. So number one, obviously, that's step one. I think depending on how close they are, you can try to drop some hints. Hopefully, like, you can also kind of use people to speak, for you, like send them this podcast, send them a book. Send
them this podcast, literally this one right here.
Share it out, everyone. No, but like, try to do more subtle ways. And if they seem open to it and you're maybe closer with them, maybe you could start being like, hey, I have some ideas for you. But I do think if they're not open and receptive and it's not like an intervention situation, at a certain point, you gotta, people can only change themselves.
I agree. And I've been there many times, and sometimes you really do feel like you're beating your head against the wall, or you're just suffering in silence because I know I can't say anything, because if I do, they're not going to, they're not going to want to hear it. And I've been living my life the way, that I know we can feel so good. That was a horrible sentence.
I get what you're saying.
You know what I'm saying.
I got the gist.
But I've even gotten to some point with some people, and I've had clients and friends that even say the same thing. I just can't be around those people.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, with someone like yourself, or anyone who has in the past eating disorder, disordered eating, or any kind of unhealthy association, and they are so far removed from that now it may even become a trigger for them to kind of revert back to old behaviors. Does that make sense? How do you view that differently, or do you?
What do you mean, like, if you had an eating disorder to get healthy again without going back?
Well, let's
into
say
the
like we're hanging out more and more, and you notice that I have really unhealthy eating habits. You notice that my weight's dropping. You notice that I'm kind of doing similar things. Hiding in behind clothes, and I'm just dropping and looking unhealthy.
Yeah.
And I'm wondering, like, could that be a trigger for someone like you, that you were living by example? You're at that, kind of friendly level to have conversations, but then maybe you reach a point to where, hey, not only I can only go so far to help you, but also like
You're
it's
bringing
triggering
me
something.
down.
Yeah,
yes.
bringing me down.
I mean, I think I'm in such a good place with my eating disorder that for me, that wouldn't be a trigger, but I see what you're saying in general. Like, there's certain people that you do have to stop hanging out with because their habits are so bad. Like, for me, it'd be more like, if you're too into partying and drinking and all that.
Like alcohol is usually like a pretty go-to one. Like, hey, I can't hang out with you anymore because all you ever do is just get hammered all the time. And,
exactly. Yeah, I definitely think, it's one thing if someone has different habits than you and you're right. Like, you don't feel like it's bringing you down.
Yeah.
You're just like, okay, we're different. I'm going to accept you for you. We'll hang out and do, like, maybe you love playing video games with that person. Like, okay, that's what we do together, but, they're not going to go for a run
just
with
keep
me.
that connection. Everything else is kind of.
Yes. But if they're literally bringing you down and it's also so difficult because, that it's already difficult for you to change, like maybe alcohol, it's like at a certain point you might need to cut that person out, temporarily cut them out, give it a lot of space. I feel like we all go through that.
Oh, for sure.
Like, have you had a few situations yourself?
Yeah, I mean, some people in my life, not a whole lot now.
Yeah.
But definitely over the years where it's like, oh, like I know what we're gonna do. Like, if we want to hang out, or like, let's get together, let's go here, come over, whatever. It's like I know what we're gonna do, and it's. I hate to say that's not the best use of my time, but I just know that it's gonna be unhealthy habits. It's gonna be we're gonna just not be active. We're gonna be eating crap. I'm not in that phase of my life anymore.
Right.
I know how good feels. And I want to just keep feeling good.
That's what you were trying to say.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a wonderful line. No, I love that.
Sometimes I use my words good. Every once in a while.
Hey, I have the same. I'm not like the most eloquent person.
Yeah.
I'm more vibrant, and you get the idea, but that is not my forte either. So to you and I together will sound like a clusterfuck.
We'll get it together sometime. We'll just do a mashup, and we'll finally actually have a decent interview.
No, but I couldn't agree more with what you're saying, especially, I mean, I have to say it's got to be so difficult if you don't have your spouse on board. And maybe you have some conversations like, look, it's fine if you don't want to join me, but don't sabotage me. Like, hey, let's set some boundaries, or like, even if it comes to food, like, okay, I'm going to give you like a special drawer in the kitchen that I don't need to check, and it has all your junk food.
That's funny. That's literally our special drawer.
Is
right
that
there.
really?
This is a special
I almost
drawer.
want to look.
We did. I did a MedMen run the other day. Got stuff in there. I got all my snacks. All like the little quick. If I'm feeling too lazy and I haven't gotten the kitchen over here that squared away, I'm like, all right, let me just grab this.
Let me just grab it. That's really funny. But
it's like she knew.
I have a sixth sense, and it comes to nutrition. No, I'm just kidding.
I believe it. Yeah.
But no, I think that's a great point. Is you either need to cut that person, create space, or have that conversation to at least be like, I don't mind if you're doing different habits, but there's certain things that are literally sabotaging my health changes. So can you help me out, or can we find a workaround?
I love that angle. It's not, you're not attacking the person. You're not saying, hey, what you're doing is wrong, or I disagree. It's, I'm going to let you know where I'm at and what is important to me and how I kind of operate. And just so you know, that's how I choose to live my life. I still want to kind of be here, but I need to kind of change the way that this dynamic works, So then it's all about you, and it really is.
Yeah.
But it's a way to kind of present that stuff to them, to maybe that finally clicks and like, oh, okay, well, maybe they want to know more about what you got going on.
Yeah. Yeah, I always say what's the sandwich method when it comes to feedback? Like something good,
a little bit of criticism in the middle,
and then I love you.
Pat it, I love you. Your eating habits suck. Also, I love you.
There we go. Do that verbatim. You'll be golden.
Usually, for me, the one that comes top of mind the most is sleep.
Oh my God, you don't even know.
So many of my people in my life, my friends, my family, it's not as high a priority. Or maybe their bodies just they don't need as much.
Yeah.
But for me, like I will say no to certain things or get really stressed out if I know we're going to be out past a certain time, or if I have a certain thing the next day. I'm like, no, like if I'm not back in bed by like 10:30, like I get so stressed out because I know how good good sleep is.
You don't even understand, because I feel like I'm almost a little too annoying about it, but I'm the same way. I mean, it changes your whole day.
Yeah.
And then you won't bring your best to this episode. Then think about what you'll be saying after.
Exactly. Yeah. Can you share with us what are your kind of sleep rituals, sleep habits? What's your sleep health routine look like?
Yes. So first of all, caffeine cutoff time, right? Caffeine curfew.
What's yours?
It depends. I mean, definitely no later than 2. It's probably better to end it at 12, but
mine's like noon to 2 as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Depending on what I got going on.
I mean, if it's a green tea or something, I can have that. So that's first off. And then I don't wear these enough, but blue light blocker glasses at night. I do have night shift on my phone.
Yes, yeah.
That, and then on the computer I use F-Lux. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, yes. I found out from Sean.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
So
years ago, like every sunset to sunrise, it's on for sure.
Yeah, so I use that, and then I used to, I feel like when you're in a health space, no one's like, oh, don't watch TV at night. But I love like a good comedy show or something fun at night. I try not to do too much scary movies.
But you're wearing your blue light blockers.
Blue light blockers.
The there you go.
So my husband and I do that. Or right now we're playing Mario Kart. I got the Wii.
No way. Oh, I love Mario Kart. That's my jam. I don't play video games, but I will.
Maybe I'll have to have you over.
Oh, that'd be amazing.
It's really fun. So right now we're doing that, and then basically what I'll do is I have my blackout curtain, because I mean LA with the lights. If you live in a busy city, blackout curtain is crucial.
You don't know the power of light. The power of light that can actually have an effect on you. Even if I'll try to remember to link this study, but there are so many clinical studies done to where even just a light in a room that you can't see, but just the fact that it's emitting light on your body affects your sleep.
It was like something like, I remember one study where it was just like
the back of the knee was one.
Yeah, it was something crazy like that.
You're laying in bed, you got a pin light on the back of your knee. You can't see it, but it actually deters your sleep quality.
Yeah, so I'll have the blackout curtain up, and then I actually have a noise machine.
Yeah,
so
okay, yeah. Like a white noise thing.
Yeah, I got like a nicer one, because we used to have this janky fan.
Where's my phone? I was going to show you. Last night I just ordered one on Amazon. The same round little noise machine.
I wonder if we got the same one.
It's like black with like an orange LED
You'll have to show
light.
Me. Oh, that's cool.
Oh, good. See, I'm on the right track then. If Amanda's doing it, I'm good.
We're good. But I have the noise machine on, and then I have the bedroom really cool. And then I'll usually read a little bit. Like lately, I haven't been reading enough, but
You got really honest right there. I love you. Just caught yourself. And then I read
a little, just a little. I used to read more.
See, it's real. Yeah.
It's real. But so I read a little bit, and then I have do you have that? I have that light next to my bed that wakes you up with the sunlight.
Oh, I don't have one, but I know what you mean.
I love it. It's actually called the Philips. That's what it is. Philips alarm clock, because if you can do this, it's basically when you wake up. Like using an alarm to wake up is like one of the worst ways, because it shoots your cortisol.
Exactly. Yeah. Then you're starting the day in just fight or flight.
Right. Like so I have this. I have that light, and it slowly mimics the sunrise, and it really works, especially with the blackout curtain.
Yeah.
It really works. And then for all of you guys who are like worried, like, oh my God, will light wake me up? They do have like a bird chirping, so if you want to add that sound.
Okay, yeah.
But you can also just put your phone maybe in the outlet like a little bit further, and you can always set a backup alarm there or something. Yeah. But hopefully you wake up before it, because it's a really nice way to wake up.
Or like on the iPhone, for example, I use the night shift as well, so it deters the blue light. But then you can turn on, it's like a bedtime. It's not an alarm, it's the bedtime. So you choose, I want to be in bed asleep by, like, let's say 10:30 p.m., wake up by 6,
that little
and it does
noise?
a gradual. It's a very slow, gradual alarm. It's a much more soft, soothing sound than just like.
Okay, so it does have like an alarm version of that.
It does, yeah.
Oh, that's
absolutely.
really cool.
And it ties into the aggregator app in the background, the Apple Health, so it actually will, in a sense, track your sleep. Oh. So like Monday through Saturday, usually, I think Monday through Friday for me, I have it set so that it goes on and off. But honestly, for me, this day and age, I don't set an alarm most often.
Yeah, I don't really. I mean,
go to bed at the same time. I wake up at the same time.
Yeah, it works. It works really well. But I understand everyone's different. So.
Yeah. So when did you know that you wanted to do all these things, not for just yourself? When did you know that it's time to go from what I'm doing in my life to like social media and like figure that out? Because that's healthy habits and healthy lifestyle can take a lifetime sometimes.
Yeah.
Then you seem to have gotten yours really dialed in a way that you can actually present it and teach it to other people.
Yep. It was actually, it's so funny because it was almost driven by social media content. So it's kind of interesting to hear that. But so at first I was sharing my meal prep, right?
You already were?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
So this was first like that, but it was more about like, this is just, I worked at a corporate fitness company.
Okay.
And I was just doing that on the side for fun. And it was more about me. It was like, here's my meal prep. Here's a recipe I made. Like it's sharing. It's helpful, but it's what I'm doing. So then at a certain point, I was like, well, people really want to understand like why I'm choosing certain foods, like, or then like swaps, like here's a better ketchup. Like here,
She's not gonna let the ketchup go.
I'm sorry. choose, maple syrup over like this other sugar. So I started making these nutrition graphics that were more informational, why I'm choosing certain foods, like kind of more like, the science, the nutrition behind it. And those were doing really well. And I was like, wow, this is really helping people. It's making it really easy for them to understand. I was like, and then I was kind of like, what if this is my calling, not working at corporate, which I loved. I worked in fitness, I worked for like a meal plan app. So I always loved my jobs. And then I was like, I seem to like really know how to communicate this well in like graphic style way.
Yeah.
And I kind of felt like, God, am I kind of doing a disservice to people by not like going all in on this and really like...
You're trying to do the same thing in both ways, and one of them is clearly just working better.
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yes. And I mean, it was such great opportunities. Those are great companies. But you're also like restricted by their vision and all that, which is fine, which is to be expected. But I'm like, okay.
And having to wear pants every day to go to work.
Yeah, I'm about no pants.
Actually, no pants here. The camera's cut off. Yeah.
We're just in swimsuits. We're ready to go in the pool right after this. No, so that was kind of what clicked it for me. I was like, this is more than just about my recipes or what I'm eating. It's really about like nutrition education.
Right. Yeah.
And that's what people are missing. And how can I make that like super easy for people?
Yeah.
And
you've been doing it for such a long time. I'm assuming here.
Yeah.
You have to have seen so many things that have come and gone with
yes.
nutrition education, especially online and social media.
Yes.
What's been your opinion on some of these? Is it just flat out like this is just wrong, or is it just some people are latching on too hard to certain
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's
modalities?
taking ideas to the extreme, right?
Yeah.
There's so many learnings from like different like keto and intuitive eating and all these like calorie counting, but it's like I feel like sometimes they feel like they have to battle each other and prove one is wrong when it's really like first of all, you don't have to be so extreme, but second of all, like we said earlier, there's no one size fits all diet. So why fight with each other? Like talk about how amazing keto is, who it could work for, why it works for you. I don't like, why do we have to battle like
it's not like keto or die
battle the carb group or like intuitive eating, even like something like the anti-diet movement, which I think has some great elements to it in terms of like
canceling diet culture kind of thing.
Well, like let's just get rid of shame and like let's get rid of some of the fad products. Like I'm all for that, but then they'll also take it so far where it's like now it's shameful to lose weight or like it's unhealthy to want to lose weight, and I'm like, again, too far the other direction. Like let's find the balance.
Right. Yeah.
I think that's honestly one of the hardest part in life, right? Is finding balance. Like someone from an eating disorder, but I'm actually curious if you struggle with that. Is like because you want to be healthy, you want to be fit, but then on the other side of that, it's not good for your mental health if you're so afraid.
No, that's such a great point. And for me, I guess a quick backstory. So when I first really became more in tune with and excited about fitness, nutrition, and just how I could manipulate my body and how I performed and how I looked, it was pretty addictive.
Right. You can get addicted.
If I just manipulate one little thing here in like 2 weeks, I can see an ab. On top of a lot of fitness and a lot of things. But that's what it was for me. It was, okay, let me count my calories. Let me do my macros. I'm going to hit my workouts 8 days a week. And after a certain point, I think I realized that I didn't really know what my goal was. I started off thinking that I need to look good. And then once I accomplished that, I was happy with how I looked. My training was great. Aesthetically, I was training for aesthetics mostly. And then I reached that goal. I was like, why doesn't this feel like it should be more?
Right.
And then it was, I would love to, say yes to pizza more often. I would love to not have to work out all the time. And then it did. It was more like that mental reevaluation of, well, what is my goal?
Right.
Do I really care that much how I look? No, I want to just kind of be able to have a lot of the different things in my life so that I feel good.
Yeah.
I know that I'm treating my body right. I know that I'm doing a lot of things for longevity. And plus for me, it was a lot of like familial stuff. We've got diabetics in my family. My father passed away from a terminal illness.
Okay.
It wasn't hereditary, but still that's always in the back of my head.
It's scary.
I want to be as in tip-top shape as much as possible without restricting myself, because I know that joy, I know that fun, I know that skipping a workout tomorrow so that I can go have fun, on a hike or doing something different or unique, or catching a movie that I've been trying to see. I know that that's going to feed my happiness. And the more that I can feed my happiness, I stay fulfilled. And then as long as I can just monitor the inputs for that, I'm good.
Yeah. No, I think that's a great point. And I remember like seeing a graphic that shows like getting healthy for some people, it might be saying no to more things and creating more structure if you're at that place in your journey. But like when you get into another place where it's, you're almost borderline over obsessive, what might be healthy for you is being a little more flexible, saying no. So you really have to honor that place in your journey, and it's a lifetime journey, right? But make it fun, make it enjoyable. And I also like that reminder that I feel like your health journey works so much better when you have a couple different reasons as to why you're doing it. Like for me, like you said, like longevity, energy, and then looking good. Like when you like really take the time to write that out, like your list of reasons.
Yeah.
And also like question if, you have, like you said, like you're just so focused on the aesthetics, like why?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I was chasing the wrong things. And honestly, I know too that I was chasing different goals based on who I was around. At the time I was working out, I was training mostly with my brother and a similar group of friends. And it was bodybuilding at first. It was bodybuilding and macros. You got to get lean. You got to get aesthetic.
Yep.
And then he picked up powerlifting, and that's when powerlifting online became very popular.
Right.
And then I kind of was like, okay, cool. Like I like that too. Let me just try that out. And so I went from bodybuilding and if it fits your macros to counting calories to power bodybuilding to powerlifting to power bodybuilding. And then like all that kind of hit at once. And I was like, why? Why? If I'm changing my goal based on just who's around me, it's a good thing. I mean, I'm staying active, I'm moving well, but it wasn't for me.
Right.
I think that's the most important thing. You got to do things that are for you.
That's such a great point. Yeah. Yep, that's super interesting. I would say that actually my husband helped my mindset a little bit. Well, one, because he was really good at research. So I learned that, and he would teach me so many things. And it's crazy if you actually look at the research, you'll want to be more balanced because things like overtraining is really not good for you and stuff. So some of that, and then also
that's why I keep this guy like the Whoop band. This thing counts for recovery. I use this more for monitoring my recovery and biofeedback, the things that I can't obviously feel, like heart rate variability, sleep. Yes, overtraining has been a savior, or rather reducing overtraining, focusing on recovery, game changer. Yeah.
So I think also, looking at the research for me ended up making me more balanced, which is interesting. I'm sure it could have the opposite effect for some people, but then also seeing my husband, he's pretty shredded. And he'll eat some
Jack dude.
There you go. But he'll eat pizza or some kind of treat like no problem. Like it was nothing. And he doesn't do it all the time, but when he does it, he's like, and I'm like, okay, he's really fit and healthy. And I mean, obviously, like I said, aesthetics aren't everything, but also I'm like, he's shredded and he eats pizza every now and then and doesn't think twice. And I'm like, why don't I need to just be that way? It literally kind of set me free because I was like, he has abs. But I'm sure you came from the if it fits your macros world, so you know that you can kind of do that. But that was kind of freeing for me.
Yeah, it came down for me ultimately was a 6-pack's cool, but a 4-pack and pizza is cooler for me.
Right. No, I mean, like you can, you can be pretty fit and balanced, but obviously, like, I mean, and you've seen it, like true, like when you're eating for competition, like you're not healthy like that month before or whatever, like dehydration, all those things. Yeah. And also getting out of that can be difficult. Like we did an episode on reverse dieting, which is helpful.
Yeah, I should say reverse dieting,
But I mean, if you don't do it right, you mess up your metabolism too.
Absolutely. Your adrenal system, your sleep. I mean, so many different things can go wrong.
Did you actually, you didn't do a competition?
I never competed.
Okay. It's a cool, you learn a lot for sure from like even just, I mean, we'll track calories and macros for like a period of time. So you do learn a lot about like portion and macros.
Yeah, not to knock anybody that does. I think it's very cool, and like it teaches you a lot of discipline. Teaches you a lot about your body, like how you respond to foods. It can teach you a lot, but it just wasn't for me.
Yeah. No, I mean, I just think it's a good reminder also to, everyone that, the moment they're on stage they're not maintaining that all the time, right? It's for the competition. But yeah, so much respect for that. Absolutely. Definitely.
Well, where are you going? Where are you going with your health and fitness journey? Where are you going with, sharing that online? Like, what's kind of next steps for you, do you think?
I'm just really trying to understand more and more why it's so difficult for people to get healthy and weight loss, and just really honing in on how I can share tips around that and continue to, explore different subjects or different ways to attack that for different people. So that's what I'm going to continue doing. And then right now it's just more about, well, at least with my content, it's trying new platforms. That's fun. Yeah. Having a lot of fun on TikTok.
I was just going to say, you're on TikTok.
I love TikTok. And then for myself, I think, just continuing to find that balance, do strength training. I mean, I'm pretty happy with where I'm at right now. I know eventually I'm going to want to have kids, so we'll see what happens during that
That's a whole other kind of health paradigm shift.
Yes, that'll be really interesting. But yeah, right now, just keep learning more and sharing that with everyone.
Very cool. One more question before I get to my final question here. Okay. We'll begin to wrap up. The last, this past whole year really, I think has posed a lot of unique problems, obstacles, just many needs to change in a lot of different ways in terms of your training and fitness and nutrition. What do you think are some like the key? You just said, I want to learn more about what are problems people are having. Yes. What are some unique problems now you think people are having that you're kind of seeing on your radar?
Yeah. Well, I think right now I'm like really giving yourself like more grace. Like don't, obviously beating yourself up too much. Like there's a certain level of maybe like getting on yourself a little bit, but like too much shame and whatever is not healthy. And if your family's sick, if you have a lot going on right now, like give yourself grace. But also remember that self-care will help you through this process. So I think that's what I've learned. But also just being respectful. Like, remember the beginning of COVID where they were, like, so hard to get groceries and stuff? So, making content, just being respectful of, like, what other people are dealing with. And but also not neglecting the fact that being healthy now will set you up in the future for any illness, right? Right. Yeah. Like, obviously, we're in the middle of a pandemic. So, again, I understand certain circumstances that you may not want to change. But right now is a great time to get healthy. Exactly. To really like set yourself up for the future.
I agree.
So that's kind of been the learning lessons, and just understanding that people are having a more difficult time emotionally. So like what are some alternatives besides food, and supporting them with that, and really focusing like, hey, healthy lifestyle is not about beating yourself up, right? It's about supporting yourself emotionally. And I
love that you said that. Yeah.
We need that more now than ever.
It's all about supporting yourself.
Yeah. So that's kind of what I've learned. And I adjust my content based on like, I can kind of read the room. Yeah. I try to. Not always perfect. I'm going to have some misses in there.
Not every content creator can, or maybe they do and they just choose not to. I don't know. But that's a whole other story.
No, that's what, because like, it was even like little things, because I used to, and now I'm doing it again, but like I used to show my cart like full of all these groceries, like in rainbow. And like when it was harder getting groceries, I was like, I don't care if I can find a grocery store that's stock full. It's kind of rude right now because it is a little scary.
Look at what I have access to.
Yeah, look at what I have access to. And right now, in the beginning, now it seems normal, but it was like, I can't find anything. And I was like, oh, wow. And I mean, I would walk into some grocery stores and be difficult. LA, there's so much here. So I was able to find some stuff where it was more stocked, but
good.
Trying
time to get creative in the kitchen.
Exactly. That's definitely what I was sharing more of.
Awesome. Well, Amanda, it's been great having you, like I said, technically back on the show, but for our first full real episode.
In person.
Yeah.
I miss some of the in-person stuff.
Absolutely. The last question I ask everybody, the whole concept of the show and what has helped me in every area of my life for healthy habits is like just moving forward. No matter what the problem is before me, like there's a solution in there. I just got to find it. Yeah. Moving ever forward. What does that mean to you? How do you live a life ever forward?
I love that. I mean, that is my mindset. Like I'm actually probably like the annoying person where you, when you want to complain to, and sometimes you just want to complain, and I'm full of solutions. Like that is my mindset. So I guess for me, it's silver lining in every problem and approaching, every health issue with a positive mindset and, like you said, being solution focused. I mean, again, like I said, people find me annoying sometimes for that. But
nobody here for sure.
That's good. Thank you so much for having me on, though. It was super fun.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so much. You guys definitely want to check out our content. I'll make sure to link down in the show notes. And if you're watching the video, are you on YouTube or just predominantly on Instagram?
Not yet. Maybe you can show me the ropes one day.
Maybe. I don't know. I have small ropes on YouTube. I have some friends with bigger ropes on YouTube. We'll see what we can do. But
you got it.
And you and your husband have an incredible podcast, and you guys are both killing it on Instagram with just fitness, nutrition content, easy, healthy habits. We'll of course have it all linked, but tell them where can they find you.
So we have the Master Your Health podcast because you guys are all the masters of your own health. And then my Instagram is Meow Mix. It's Meow MEIX. Really interesting name, but yeah, that's mostly where you can find me.
Did it come from like Meow Mix, like the
yeah,
the
it did
cat
come
jingle?
from. My last name was Meixner, and I really like cats. Nothing to do with my line of work.
Super clever.
So clever. I prefer Everford.
You can't change it now. Yeah.
No,
thanks.
it's okay. It's kind of funny. You're not gonna forget me.
No, not at all. Yeah.
I just need to actually get a cat. Okay. That's really. My mom had a ton growing up, but anyways, that's another story.
She's been living a lie. Yeah.
That's a story for another time.
Incredible.